Hey, Bas Geek here, and what's the first jig you pick up when you're summer fishing? A football, a casting, a flipping, a finesse? Well, if so, you're missing some big bass. Those are all great techniques, and I love them during the summer, but years ago, I discovered a jig and a technique that is now always on the deck of my boat when I'm summer fishing. This jig can be fished fast to elicit a reaction strike, or it can be fished painfully slow to just drive them mad while it's setting in their face. And I'm going to give one of you lucky geeks a chance to use this jig for free as long as you stay to the end of the video. But first, I want to talk to you about this month's Bas Geek Box, sponsored by Baitworks. Now, every single month, geeks, you know, and for those of you that are new, we hand pick $50 from Baitworks. They're an incredible online retailer of baits. They've got some incredible prices and sales. You need to make sure you go check them out. Let's see what we picked out for the July Bas Geek Baitworks box. Now, July to me is ledge fishing. It's when it really starts for me. It's when it really gets good. And for me, it's really hard not to have a big swim bait on hand. Something that I can put a jig head on and I can fish deep and slow. One of my favorites, one of the ones that I got started with doing this, was the Shadalicious, and this is green gizzard shad. Something else that you can do a lot of things with during the summer. You can Nico rig it, you can magnet rig it, you can Texas rig it, you can put it on a big shaky head, and that's a big worm. This is from Exxon, and this is their fat finesse worm, and it's in Southern Sip. Now, one of those jigs that we mentioned is in this box along with the other jig, but you can't go wrong with a football jig. And let me tell you, the hook on the Omega jigs, there ain't anything better or bigger than this hook. And you can't go wrong with green pumpkin and a 3/4 during the summer. And leave it to Bas Geek, when he picks a box for you, he even makes sure he gets your trailers in there for that Omega jig. Check it out, the Exxon Adrenaline Bug. This has become my favorite trailer for a football jig during the summer. This is green pumpkin black flake. Match that jig perfectly. Another great bait, especially when they're up chasing shad this time of year, is this little bait right here. One of my favorite size, the 3/8, because you can fish it fast. This is the Pulse Head in Tennessee shad. One of my favorite baits right there. Oh wait, and did I get a trailer for it? You know I did. My favorite trailer, this is Smoky in a trailer, also by Pulse, to go right along with your Pulse fish head. Last but not least, you always get a Bas Geek sticker in the box. Oh, and yes, I'm not leaving out the jig. But my favorite jig to fish this time of year, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to fish it if you win the Bas Geek box. We'll talk to you about how to do that at the end of the video. But that is the Big Daddy Baits Bucktail jig, or big hair jig for summer bass. This is a special color designed by Elite Pro Buddy Gross, and this is one of my favorite colors to fish, and that is gizzard shad. All right, it is very important to have the right rod, reel, and line set up. This is a 5/8, but they make a 3/4 and an ounce, and I use all of them. This is a TFO Tactical Elite. I'll put a comparable in there. They don't have the Tactical Elites anymore. I think it's the Tactions. It's 7.3 heavy, fast action. This is a Lose LFS. You know, $99 reel. It's done a great job. You can see how long I've had this reel. It is a 6/8 to 1. I do recommend a higher speed reel. 6/8 to a 7.5 is great. Probably wouldn't go much faster than that. And that has a lot to do with the retrieve, which I will show you in a minute. I do run this on 15-pound Pro 100, which is the 100% fluorocarbon by K9 Line. Guys, 10% off. Go try K9 Line. This is their fluorocarbon. If it says fluoro, it is copolymer, and I'll tell you, their braid, again, best on the market. Try it. I dare you. If you're a braid lover, 10% off. Go try their line and their braid. And tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Now, what's great about this jig is you don't even need a trailer most of the time. Every once in a while, because I picked this up from a lot of the saltwater guys, I will put me a little grub on the back of it. A rage grub is great, but that is going to change rate of fall. Rate of fall is key on these jigs. Now, I'll be honest with you, even in pretty shallow water, like we're gonna be fishing right here, not too shallow, probably 12 to 20 feet, I like an ounce. 3/4, this is a 5/8. It's gonna fall a little slow for me. There's a couple of different retrieves. Now you can fish this like a spoon. You can let it sink to the bottom, you can rip it up, you can fish it like stroking a jig, sort of the same thing. You can send it to the bottom, give it a little slack, twitch, twitch, come up. But my favorite way, and I think the way that I get the most bites, is this retrieve right here. Now with this, you want a good long rod. That's why I like that 7.3, 7.6, even a little bit longer. I want to get a nice long cast out of it because I want to get it as far past the school of bass as I can get them. Now this is where, when I was talking about reel speed earlier, comes into play. So you want to make a long cast, you want to let it sink, and you don't let it pendulum back to you. Feed it line until you see it hit the bottom. Sometimes with the heavier, like the 1 ounce, you'll feel it. It'll go boom. You'll feel it in your rod and your reel and in your hand. Once it's down there, this is kind of where it's almost like a jig, except there's more pauses. So once it hits the bottom, you can let it set for just a second or two, and then you're going to want to give it 3 to 5 cranks of the reel as fast as you can crank it, because it's going to dart up. Be ready when you do that, because a lot of times what will happen, the bass will follow it down, they'll be nosing on it, and as soon as you give it those cranks, they'll react and they'll swallow it. So be ready to set the hook. Do not be lifting your rod tip. Keep your rod tip at about a 9 o'clock position so that you're ready to set the hook. Setting the hook, it's a jig straight over your head. Fighting the fish, reel down, get your tip in the water if you have to, get the bass to the boat hop it in, unless you got a net man, boat hop it in if your net man ain't ready. So now I want to give you geeks a chance to win this box and fish a hair jig yourself. I'm telling you, it can be an incredible reaction bait and catch some of the biggest bass of the summer. Don't look over it. So the way you're going to win is you're going to enter hashtag hair jig. That's it, hashtag hair jig in the comment section below. You'll be entered to win 1 week from the day that this video comes out. So if it comes out on a Sunday, it'll be a week the very next Sunday. If it comes out on a Tuesday, it'll be the very next Tuesday. If it comes out on Thursday, it'll be the very next Thursday. Anyway, when that video comes out, we'll tell you who won and who gets a chance to try out some of these baits in the Bas Geek Box. 100% Watch Squad, I want to give you guys a shout out. Thank you. You helped the channel. Join the 100% Watch Squad. Like it if you like it. And as always, you geeks rock.